What happened to Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, and why does it seem like some people know more than they're letting on?
Flight MH370 is one of the biggest aviation mysteries in history. On March 8th of 2014, this Malaysia Airlines flight vanished while flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. It just disappeared from radar, and only a few pieces of debris have ever been found. Tons of conspiracies surrounding the flight have come about ever since it went missing. Even during the early days of the search for the plane, folks were questioning things. People were frustrated and angry because the investigation into the disappearance seemed messy and just a little too secretive. They just seemed too slow on the uptake. Days had been spent searching in the wrong area, information wasn't being shared with the families of the missing passengers, and what information was being shared was often unclear or full-on contradictory. Many felt the government wasn't sharing everything they knew, which made people think that they might have been hiding something. So with that said, let's get into some of the strange and mysterious aspects of this case.
While I do agree that the disappearance of flight MH370 is both strange and mysterious, I have to say that what strikes me as even more odd is the fact that it was not the only plane to disappear that day, Sunday, March 8th, 2014, in that area over the Indian Ocean at that time, 1:22 Standard Malaysian Time. Korean Airlines Flight 672 also disappeared from radar while crossing paths with flight MH370, only to reappear moments later just as Malaysian Flight 370 disappeared from radar forever. Yeah. As MH370 set out over the waters of the Indian Ocean, flight KAL 627 is seen on radar changing its direction and flying at an incredibly high speed towards the open waters. Moments later, KAL 627 disappears from radar altogether. Moments after that, MH370 disappears as well. Moments before, KAH 627 reappears just a little ways ahead of where the Malaysian flight was last detected by radar. Because of the strange behavior of the Korean Airlines flight changing direction and flying at incredibly high speeds, similar to speeds of fighter jets, and the fact that it momentarily disappeared right before the disappearance of MH370, many people believe that the KAL flight might have something to do with the MH flight going missing, and claim that it could have very well been a fighter jet using advanced technologies that momentarily allowed it to be undetectable by radar. While KAL 627 may very well have caused the disappearance of MH370, the reason why remains a mystery.
Zahid Raza was a Malaysian consulate official in Madagascar. He was killed in 2017, and some people think his death might be connected to Flight 370. Pieces of the plane started washing up on beaches in places like Madagascar. Raza was tasked with retrieving these parts and sending them back to Malaysia for investigation, but on August 24th of 2017, Zahid was found slumped over in his car, which was riddled with bullets. So why was he killed, and who carried it out? We've never gotten an official answer. Could it have been a random act of violence, a robbery gone wrong or something? It's possible, but some people think his death was in direct connection to the plane, that someone might have wanted to stop him from sending back important plane parts that could reveal what really happened.
Okay, so not only did MH370 and KAL 627 disappear either permanently or momentarily, so did the search ship that was hired to search for the wreckage of MH370. 4 years after Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 disappeared, the Malaysian government hired a Norwegian ship to search the area for any debris of the plane. The company was given 90 days to find evidence of the wreck, and they were incentivized with a reward of up to $50 million. On January 22nd of 2018, the ship, named the Seabed Constructor, set out on their search. For 9 days, everything seemed normal, until on the 10th day of the search, the crew aboard the Seabed Constructor turned off their transponder and kept it off for a total of 3 days. When the public began to worry, the company released a statement saying that the ship was searching in a specific undisclosed location, but they did not want to raise the hopes of the public in case they were ultimately unsuccessful in their search. I mean, I guess so, but also that sounds like BS to me.
On March 13th, 2018, a Twitter user going by TY posted a screen recording of a creepy voicemail he received. This voicemail had an automated voice using the NATO phonetic alphabet to spell out a strange message. S danger, SOS, it is dire for you to evacuate, be caution, they are not human. 04 29 33 96 4230. SOS, danger, SOS. Obviously the tweet blew up, with users throwing out all kinds of theories. Of course, the one we're focusing on today is that the voicemail had something to do with the missing Malaysia Airlines flight. See, what was eerie is that the coordinates in the message matched up with where the plane was last seen on radar. Some speculated that the voicemail could be a recording from the plane's black box, which explains the SOS message. The black box in a plane records crucial flight data and cockpit conversations. It's incredibly tough and is designed to emit pings to help locate it if a plane crashes. Now, this also makes that caution they are not human part of the message extra unsettling.
Is it possible that the disappearance of flight MH370 was financially motivated? Perhaps. You see, many people believe that much like the Titanic, the disappearance of this flight was pre-planned to make some very rich people much richer. In the case of the Titanic, 3 men opposed to the creation of the Federal Bank and 1 in favor, JP Morgan, all bought tickets for the unsinkable ship's maiden voyage. JP Morgan, along with many of his close friends, family members, and colleagues, cancelled at the last minute. The ship went down and the bank went ahead. In the case of MH370, 4 Chinese nationals working for an Austin-based company called Freescale Semiconductor allegedly boarded the flight. Prior to this, they had been named on a US patent for a new kind of material called graphene that is said to be thinner than saran wrap, but roughly 200 times stronger than steel, and obviously worth a lot of money. But what's a lot of money divided by 4+ people? Significantly less than what it could be if those 4 people could no longer claim financial compensation for their work due to the fact that they were dead. You see where I'm going with this. Is it at all possible that, like JP Morgan, Freescale Semiconductor took out their financial competition? Well, the company says no, obviously, but they did admit that they lost 20 employees when the flight went down, just not any that were patent holders. I mean, that's all good and well, but I think I'd feel better hearing it from the patent holders themselves, which I haven't. So for now, I'm skeptical.
Zahid Raza wasn't the only debris collector who may have gotten on the wrong side of someone. Blaine Gibson, a former lawyer from Seattle, took it upon himself to get to the bottom of what happened to Flight 370. So he traveled around the Indian Ocean along with a British engineer named Richard Godfrey, attempting to retrieve whatever pieces of wreckage they could. Gibson told CNN in 2016, "Until I or someone else finds the plane and the truth about what happened to it and the passengers, I'll keep going. The search must go on. It can't stop when the present search area is exhausted. We have to solve the mystery." Now, almost as soon as their search started though, Gibson began keeping his exact whereabouts private. The pair had found a piece of wreckage in Madagascar, a piece of the plane's door, and then they started receiving threats. And things only got worse when he discovered more debris, claiming in another interview, "Now I've got some more debris, it's starting to heat up again." And with the prospect of a new search that may find the plane and the truth, some people are getting pretty worried. He went on to then say, "There are certain elements in Malaysia, mafia types, who seem to be very much against me and against the search and my efforts. I've been defamed, followed, and intimidated by them, but it didn't stop me. It just pushed me underground."
Could another possible reason for the sudden and, as far as the general public knows, unexplained disappearance of MH370 possibly be weather manipulation? According to some people, yes. In fact, there are a number of people out there who believe that HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program many people associate with weather manipulation, was ultimately the reason for the plane's disappearance from radar and subsequent supposed crash landing. You see, HAARP just so happens to be in possession of an ionospheric research instrument, the IRI, which sends high-frequency radio waves into the ionosphere and sometimes greatly affects radio signals, which can, in some instances, cause planes to lose control. And this isn't the only time HAARP has been blamed for incredibly tragic disasters. Some people believe HAARP actually used the Columbia space shuttle that exploded during the Columbia disaster as target practice for some new super-secret technology, and others blame HAARP for the devastating 2011 earthquake that took place in Japan, claiming that it was caused by too much heat accumulating in the ionosphere, another byproduct of the ionospheric research instrument. I mean, honestly, in the world we live in, who knows?
One of the big conspiracy theories is that flight MH370 was taken to Diego Garcia. So Diego Garcia is a little island in the Indian Ocean that's home to a big US military base. So could the plane have been hijacked and flown there for some secret reason? For one, there's the plane's westward turn and the mysterious phone contact made by the co-pilot, which some say aligns with a flight path towards Diego Garcia. The area around Diego Garcia has spots where radar coverage is weak or even non-existent, which would certainly make it easier for a plane to disappear. And as Hannah mentioned, there could have been people on the plane with sensitive information or technology that the US wanted to get their hands on.
While there are many theories about why the plane went down and who might have possibly known about the impending doom of MH370 beforehand, none are quite as heartbreaking as Cathy Lawton, a wife and mother of 3 who spent the weeks leading up to the flight having nightmares and waking up worried that something terrible was going to happen should herself and her husband board the plane. She worried so much that her friend actually ended up buying her a set of 4 worry dolls. The day of the flight, she placed one of the dolls into her bag, said goodbye to her 3 daughters, and made her way to the airport and boarded the plane alongside her husband. 70 minutes later, the flight disappeared. It was then that her daughters realized that her nightmares and worries were actually premonitions and warnings. While it is fun to think about conspiracy theories regarding the mysterious disappearance of the flight, it is quite sobering to remember that the loss of MH370 was also the loss of 239 lives. Hopefully one day we will get some more concrete answers about what really happened on that day, the 8th of March 2014.
You're not flying anywhere soon, are you? Would this help with your fear of the planes and stuff?
No.
On a plane?
No, don't particularly enjoy these
Probably
ones.
didn't help any of you either, but you clicked on the video.
Stay safe out there.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.